Hello and welcome to the Grumpy Stew podcast. My name is Dylan. I am your Grumpy Stew, and thanks for listening. This is episode 7, a continuation of episodes 5 and 6. You want to be a flight attendant, kind of talking about the application process, interview process, all that good stuff. And first and always, we always welcome our new members with partially outstretched arms to the Church of Fuck'em, and offering prayers today to Our Lady of Eat Me and Our Lady of Choke on a Dick. And the special prayer on behalf of our newbies today will be sent to Our Lady of Fellatio. Yes, Our Lady of Fellatio. I read that correctly. Okay. Now moving on, I kind of got to thinking about something. Now, those of you who are loyal listeners will know that several episodes ago I've opened my shoebox, and my shoebox is full of rotations and trip sheets and everything. The thousands of trips I've worked over the years, and I tend to write little notes on my trip sheets about the stupid shit or the gross shit or, the fucked up things that passengers say and do on my trip sheets. And, I got to thinking, this would be good material to use to write a book sometime in the future. I think I can write a book, and I don't know what I'm going to call it. I haven't figured that part out yet, but I've already got the page numbers done. So, baby steps. Baby steps. I'm getting there. Okay, so as promised, this episode is going to be a continuation of episodes 5 and 6. So you want to be a flight attendant, talking about the application and interview process and possibly helping you start your journey to become a professional Grumpy Stew, and maybe realize your dreams of the not-so-glamorous lifestyle that we live here in the airline world. The last episode, we talked about starting your application, getting all your stuff together, filling out the application, doing the personality test. Now, like I said in the previous episode, there could be some time that goes by between all the steps of your interview and your application process, okay? So this isn't true for every single airline. Once again, this is just based on my experience. I'm going to share a couple of things with you, though, on my personal experience. I'm at the airline that I want to be at, okay? I wanted the airline that I'm at. That was my dream airline. I'm where I want to be. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I interviewed with the other big two multiple times before I did my interview at the airline that I want to be at. And I did that as a practice. I filled out that application. I went through all their steps of the interview and application process. I got face-to-face interviews with both of those airlines a couple of times. And I used that as a rehearsal for the real deal, because I wanted to be where I am so badly that I went to all those extremes to make sure I secure the job at my current airline. And I kind of recommend that you do something similar to that as well. The point is you have to want it. And I do recommend having an airline in mind. All of the airlines have their own culture and their own variety of flying and their own everything that's unique to them, to their brand, to their culture, everything, okay? You want to be very particular about where you go, because you don't want to be unhappy. You don't want to regret your decision. And I also recommend, maybe if you're not sure if you want to make the flight attendant thing a lifelong career, perhaps start at a regional airline. There's nothing wrong with that. Some regionals are better than others. SkyWest, for example, is a very good regional airline. It is not a bad place to learn the job, get your feet wet, and determine if this is something that you want to do for the next 30 years. So that's where I started. I started at a regional airline. I gave them a good 5 years. Within like 2.5, 3 years, I realized that that's what I wanted to do. At that time, the big ones really weren't hiring. But once they started hiring, I went to of all the top 3, I applied at the other top 2 multiple times and got in front of them a couple of times each to practice my interview technique. That's what I did. And also, in regard to the airline that I want to be at, I went on the Google and I found a bunch of old interview questions that they've used in the past. And I made a list of like 10 of them, and I wrote out responses to 10 of those questions. So that way I would be ready and prepared and have an answer ready to go should I get asked a question that was similar. They recycle a lot of the same questions, or they at least use similar questions, okay? So this is going to bring us to our video or phone interview. You're either going to get a phone call at some point, or you're going to get an email saying, hey, we're going to call you, or here's a link to a video. You're going to record a video and your responses to these questions. Now, here's the key. You want to treat these phone interviews or video interviews like an in-person interview. Okay? You want to treat it professionally. This is a job, right? So you want to be in a clean, quiet space where there's no distraction. You don't want to hear your dog barking in the background, babies crying, traffic, screaming neighbors, whatever it is, gunfire, if you live in Iraq or something, okay? You want to be in a nice, calm, quiet space. If it's a video, you want the background behind you to be clean and uncluttered. You don't want it to look like you live in an episode of Hoarders or something, okay? It needs to be clean and neat. You don't want to have something like a vulgar poster or something behind you. I just realized the other day I recorded a video interview to be considered for a charter position at my airline, and I have a Seinfeld themed license plate up on my wall. If you guys remember when Kramer got the personalized plates that said Ass Man, that's what I had up on my wall behind me, and I was practicing my video answers, and I noticed that I had the Ass Man license plate behind me. I had to take that down, okay, because it was clearly visible in the camera, and it said Ass Man, big letters. So, you want to be cognizant of your surroundings, okay? You want to wear a suit. If you're a guy, you want to wear a suit with a shirt and a tie. It needs to be clean. It needs to be ironed. It needs to look professional. Don't wear a black suit. Wear a navy suit or a charcoal suit, maybe even a Cambridge gray suit. Do not wear black. A small pinstripe might be okay. Nothing too loud, nothing too flashy. But you don't want to stay away from black, and you don't want to look like you're going to the club or going to the casino. You want to look like a professional. Ladies, you want to wear professional business attire. Whatever that is for ladies, I don't know anything about ladies' clothing. I'm sorry. You're talking to a guy. I don't know anything about that. But consult your friends. You want to wear something that is professional business. A lot of airlines are kind of conservative in nature, especially the Southern airlines. So you want to look the part. Also, you want to sit in front of your webcam if it's a video interview and practice and get the camera settings just right. And you want to wear your outfit, and you want to make sure that the light is good, that you look good on the camera, that the sound works, the microphone works. And you might even want to take a few pictures of what you look like in that light and determine if that outfit looks good on the camera. It may not look very good on the camera. Also, ladies, with your makeup, you might want to take a few pictures with your webcam wearing your usual makeup to see if it looks okay on the camera. You don't want to look like a clown. And you don't want to wear too much makeup, by the way, because you will look like a clown. So you might have to change up your makeup technique a little bit so that way the lighting is correct on your face and you don't look foolish, okay? And another good thing I want to stress is you don't want to get into your head too much with this. Don't freak out. A friend of mine is in the interview process with my airline. He just did his video interview, and he spent like a good 5 or 6 hours on it. It should not take that long. It should only take 45 minutes at most. And that's with practicing. Do not get in your head. Don't overthink it. Just relax and be comfortable. And like I said, if you go through, find old questions, write out responses to those questions, you're going to be better prepared, and you're not going to be trying to think of a story to tell these people. Because that does lead me to my next point, is all the questions you're going to be asked in an interview process are going to be something called behavior questions, gauging your behavior, determining your personality, okay? So all these questions will be designed to gauge your behavior. So in your responses, you want to be specific. Don't make shit up. Because if they don't buy your story, they're going to start asking you probing questions to poke holes in your story and catch you in a lie. So don't lie to your future employer. That's a bad way to get started. You want to be honest. You want to be specific, and you want to show a clear result, okay? You might want to go on the Google and look up something called the STAR format. That's situation, task, action, and result. And this will work for any airline or any job interview that asks you behavior questions. They're going to be questions like, tell me about a time you were treated unfairly at work. What did you do? What was the result? That's an example of a behavior question. So think about it. Write out several responses to 10 or so questions, so that way you are mentally prepared and you don't feel like you're put on the spot. Okay, it'll make you more comfortable and more at ease, and you'll be a lot less nervous. I promise. So another thing we need to talk about, after you complete all these steps of the interview, there's going to be a lot of what I call hurry up and wait. It could be a while before you know if you progress to the next steps of the interview process, no matter where you are within the process, okay? So let's say you finish your personality test and you've done your phone interview or your video interview, and it could be months before you hear from your airline. Because you got to keep in mind that when an airline opens up their application process, tens of thousands of people are applying for the same job. Not to scare you, but that is reality. Tens of thousands of people are applying for the same job and vying for an opportunity to get in front of a recruiter and make their case. So that's why it's so important that you are prepared and you take my advice. And talk to other flight attendants out there and ask them what they've done to prepare for the interview process. But the big key here is you're going to be hurrying up and waiting a lot, so you want to be patient with the process. Don't get in your head. Don't get all worked up. Don't think you need to call them and see where you are in the line. Don't do that shit. Just be patient. Stay busy. Find something to do. If you're working, I encourage you to work as much as possible between let's say, the beginning process of your interview process and when you finally get hired, when you get your conditional job offer. Why do you need to work a lot? Well, you need to save up your money. The reality is when you get hired, you're going to need probably 3 or 4 months of money stashed away, because a lot of airlines do not pay you for training. Some do, some do not. They will likely provide you, boarding. They'll put you in a dormitory or a hotel or something, but you still have to feed yourself. You still have to pay your bills while you're in training. Your bills don't stop just because you've transitioned careers. Your car payment's still going to be there. Your rent's still going to be there. Your credit card debt, student loan debt, that's all still going to be there, and you need to be able to pay your bills and feed yourself. After you finish your training and you go online, it could take a month for all of your flight hours to catch up in the payroll process and start kicking out paychecks to you. So you need to be able to float for a month on your savings and eat and feed yourself and pay your card bill and everything else, okay? On top of that, let's say you get based in Chicago or San Francisco or New York. Let's say you get based in a very expensive city where you don't live and you commute and you don't care to live there. You will need something called a crash pad. I promise you, especially if you are in New York, you absolutely need a crash pad, because you will be on reserve and you cannot stay in hotels 6 nights a month, okay? It's expensive. You need a crash pad. So a crash pad it's essentially renting a bed, and that bed will be available to you, but you're going to pay rent for that bed. So you're going to pay a security deposit and your first month rent. That could be $600 right there. And you'll need to, make yourself comfortable in this crash pad. You're going to need towels. You're going to get sheets of blankets, pillows. You want to feel comfortable. So You want to work, keep yourself busy, save your money, be smart with your money, pay your bills, and eat, okay? You want to be able to do all of these things. You don't want to be hungry when you're going to training. We talked about that stuff. We've talked about the application, the personality test, the video or phone interview, behavior questions, prepping for these questions, the hurry up and wait. So the next episode, we're going to talk about the face-to-face. You've passed all the stages of the interview so far. You're doing good, and they're inviting you to whatever city to do a face-to-face interview. And we're going to talk about that in the next episode. But first, you need to like, subscribe, share with your friends, whatever. Say your prayers to Our Lady of Fuck Them and the broom they flew in on. It'll help you. It'll give you luck. Comment, ask questions. Also, you can find me on the Twitter at the Grumpy Steward. No, I think it's just at Grumpy Steward, actually. At Grumpy Steward. And all of the, seasoned flight attendants out there, leave some encouragement for the newbies out there who are trying to boost your seniority. Until next time, my friends, I thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.